So let's talk about the religion that believes that their leader was the prophet after Muhammad. Hey guys, welcome back. It's John. I am here to talk today about the Baha'i faith. When I look at religions throughout the world, I find Baha'i to be one of the most beautiful, actually. And when I start reading some of the direct writings from Baha'u'llah, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see a lot of my teachings in there as well. But let's just talk a little bit about the background. It was actually formally structured in 1844, so it's actually a fairly new religion. It came back to the Bab, which was the BAB, the first central figure of the Baha'i faith. The Bab predicted the coming of a new prophet, and then Baha'u'llah was the one who to declare he was the prophet, and then the leader of the movement after him was his son Abdu'l-Baha. Now, this religion actually comes out of Iran. Still the Middle East, still that part of the world. And when you look at the teachings of the Baha'i faith, you find out very quickly it thinks of itself as an evolution. And so what I'd like to do is just go through some of these notes that I have here and read you some of the text, some of the quotes from Baha'u'llah. So first I want to say the main theme of Baha'u'llah's message is unity and oneness of mankind. He taught that there is only one God and that all world's religions represent one changeless and eternal faith of God, and that all humanity is one race destined to live in peace and harmony. The Baha'i faith provides a structure through which universal peace can be obtained and established in this age. Among the teachings of Baha'u'llah is that this earth is but one country and mankind its citizen. This I found online when I did search on the Baha'i faith. But this article that I found actually gives basic teaching. So, and I like the fact that they did this because this really shows the basic teachings of Baha'i, and it really shows a pathway forward for humanity. So let me jump right in. The first of the basic teachings listed in this article is the oneness of mankind. Now, this is a quote from Baha'u'llah. It is not for him to pride himself who loveth his country, but rather for him who loveth the whole world. The earth is but one country, and mankind its citizens. Now, this came from the writings of Baha'u'llah. So he literally is saying that these borders, these boundaries, the delineations of country are actually harmful and detrimental. The whole world is one humanity. And so that's one of the essential teachings of the Baha'i faith, is that every person you meet is one. Everyone, it's one humanity. It's all part of the same earth. The second of these basic principles, the oneness of religion. In other words, that everyone's praying to God. They're just praying at it from different forms. So let me read this. This is another quote from Abdu'l-Baha. This is from his son. All these divisions we see on all sides, all these disputes and opposition are caused because men cling to ritual and outward observances and forget the simple underlying truth. It is the outward practices of religion that are so different, and it is they that cause disputes and enmity, while the reality is always the same and one. The reality is the truth, and the truth has no division. Truth is God's guidance. It is the light of the world. It is love. It is mercy. These attributes of truth are also human virtues inspired by the Holy Spirit. And this was Abdu'l-Baha's speech in Paris. This next basic principle is near and dear to my heart. You know, I say on my channel that I'm just speaking my truth and finding my own truth, and it's for everyone to find their own truth. The third basic principle in this article is independent investigation of truth. This is once again Abdu'l-Baha. Quote, furthermore, know ye that God has created in man the power of reason, whereby man is enabled to investigate reality. God has not intended man to imitate blindly his fathers and ancestors. He has endowed him with mind, or the faculty of reason, by the exercise of which he is to investigate and discover the truth, and that which he finds real and true he must accept. So it really does say you come to find your own truth and follow your own truth. Don't believe me or anybody else, or even Baha'u'llah. Don't even believe him unless it's true to you. Find your own truth through your own reason. This actually is almost directly in line with what the Buddha said as well. The fourth principle, religion as a source of unity. He, meaning Baha'u'llah, sets forth a new principle for this day in the announcement that religion must be the cause of unity, harmony, and agreement among mankind. If it be the cause of discord and hostility, if it leads to separation and creates conflict, the absence of religion would be preferable in this world. He's literally saying, get rid of religions. He's saying that right now, religions have the opportunity to unify the world by saying, yes, we all believe in a loving God, but they're not doing that. They're all standing their ground, making their mark, and saying, cross my line. What they're saying here is that it'd be preferable not to have religion if religion itself is causing the divisions in the world. I 100% agree with that, and I am gratified when I see that the churches have lost over 50% of their congregation over the past 20 years because religion is falling to the wayside, because it's ancient and dangerous. Number 5, the evolutionary nature of religion. I love this because this actually ties into the Judaic or the Jewish faith, where they believe the Torah is a living document that is ever growing and evolving. But I want to read this because I love this perspective that he talks about here. This is not a quote from one of them. This is from the writer of this article, which I'll see if I can find out who this article was and share it. But Bahais view religion as a progressive evolutionary process which needs to be updated as humanity evolves mentally, socially, and spiritually. Every so often, a new prophet is sent to humanity to update the religion to the current needs of mankind. These prophets bring essentially the same spiritual message to mankind in a form that meets the needs of the people of their time. Baha'is believe that Baha'u'llah has brought an updated message for mankind today. So literally they're saying as we evolve, the message evolves. And when you look at this perspective, starting with Judaism, going to Christianity, going to Islam, going to Baha'i, what you start to notice is a pattern whereby fear and hateful things are being pared away from the teachings. And by the time you get to Baha'i, there's much more love than fear. And it's a very interesting perspective. And I like the fact that it talks about the evolutionary nature, because as our own awareness, as our own veils drop, we start to see a better world or a broader world. And, we have to have, an evolving nature because, back in 2,000 years ago, they say don't eat pork. Why? Well, the pork was making people sick, so it became a religious thing. Don't eat the pork because the pork is making you sick. Well, they didn't realize that it was the way the pigs were living in the mud and the muck and the mire and the fungus, and so they were getting sick eating unclean food. But in reality, it was like if they'd cleaned the food, it would have been fine. So, but it comes down to the idea that over the course of time, they've realized that, no, that's not really a thing. That was a thing for that time, and basically keeping people from being sick. And so when you look at the evolutionary nature of religion, they're literally, things are evolving as we come to a better understanding of things. Number 6, harmony between religion, science, and reason. And this is a quote from Abdu'l-Baha. Religion and science are two wings upon which man's intelligence can soar into the heights with which the human soul can progress. It is not possible to fly with one wing alone. Should a man try to fly with the wing of religion alone, he would quickly fall into the quagmire of superstition, whilst on the other hand, with the wing of science alone, he would also make no progress, but fall into despairing slough of materialism. So he's literally saying science and religion are two sides of a coin, but the coin is the singular thing. And what's interesting when you look at this from the perspective of where we are now, and you see these new sciences coming up like noetic sciences, the scientists who are so leaning only to science as truth will call noetic science pseudoscience, and they'll start saying that's a pseudoscience. Well, pseudoscience, pseudo meaning fake, science, it's a fake science. So they're actively fighting against anything that is blended between spirituality and science. That's why it's a pseudoscience in their mind. But when you look at what these new religions and these new concepts are coming out with, they're starting to prove a lot of the spiritual beliefs. What you think you become, you create your world, is right on the cusp of being proven by noetics. And so when you look at it from the perspective of we are evolving and there is a harmony in between it all, then you start to say, okay, then I can even lose the division of the religion of science, because it itself has its own dogmas and religions that people fall into and get stuck. Let's move on to the next one, shall we? This is a great one. Peaceful consultation as a means for resolving differences. In the Baha'i faith, difference of opinion is not squelched. It is, in fact, encouraged. And here's a quote from Abdu'l Baha. The shining spark of truth cometh forth only after the clash of differing opinions. You know, I love to have open discourse about people's opinions. I respect all people's beliefs. And it's only when the people don't respect mine and will knock me down that I kind of blow them off, right? But I enjoy hearing someone else's opinion because it will either cement my belief or it'll show me another perspective of my belief. So it really is a beautiful perspective. But this guy goes on in this article, however, differences of opinion can be expressed in a way that doesn't humiliate another human being. The Baha'i principle of consultation requires that an individual be detached from his or her opinions and always be open to truth from whoever or wherever it comes from. You know, it comes back to that idea is find your truth. Listen to everybody, but find your personal truth. And that's what this comes back to, is this idea of you are on a personal journey of discovery of truth, but it's specifically your truth. So, and that's found through open discourse of many people's truths. And so when I look at this, I find this just a beautiful statement. Number 8, international auxiliary language. Baha'u'llah, in the tablets of Baha'u'llah, actually proposed this concept of creating a singular language for humanity. Here's the quote. It behoveth the sovereigns of the world, may God assist them, or the ministers of the earth, to take counsel together and to adopt one of the existing languages or a new one to be taught to children in schools throughout the world, and likewise one script. Thus the whole earth will come to be regarded as one country. It's a beautiful idea. If it could happen, that would be world-changing. That would change everything. And there's no reason why it couldn't happen. Right now, the only reason it's not happening is because everyone's divided and trying to hold on as being right, as opposed to coming together in our present moment as a loving humanity. To me, it's a beautiful goal, and that we should strive for something of that, something that we can all converse with everybody all over the world. And English really is spoken all over the world, but it's a matter of getting more and more people to. And I'm not saying English has to be the one, but right now it is definitely the front runner. Spanish is right there too. So, number 9, universal education, and this is also from the tablets of Baha'u'llah. Unto every father hath been enjoined the instruction of his son or daughter in the art of reading and writing, and in all that hath been laid down in the holy tablet. He that putteth away that which is commanded unto him. The trustees of the house of justice are then to recover from him that which is required for their instruction. If he be wealthy, and if not, a matter dissolveth upon the house of justice. Verily, we have made a shelter for the poor and needy, that he bringeth up his sons and the son of another. It is though he hath brought up the son of mine. Upon him rest my glory, my loving kindness, my mercy. They have compassed the world. This is a sort of a convoluted little thing, but when you look at it, he's literally saying universal education. We're all educating each other, and that child, though that child is not mine, I can be a teacher for that child. I can, give shelter to the poor and needy. I can bring us up with the son of another. I can think of the world as an instruction, and if I have knowledge that I can impart on another, then I will then impart it on another, and I will help grow the world as one human race. When he's talking about the Holy Tablet, he's talking about these loving writings that he's talking about. These are this quote itself comes from the tablets of Baha'u'llah. He's showing the next level in this faith. He's showing the next level of God's teachings. Number 10, the elimination of all forms of prejudice. Quote, again, as to the religious, racial, national, and political bias, all these prejudices strike at the very root of human life. One and all, they beget bloodshed and the ruination of the world. So long as these prejudices survive, there will be continuous and fearsome wars. Abdu'l-Baha. He literally is warning us against the prejudices that we're creating. And you look at the world today, you're seeing the wars and anxieties all because of prejudice. And be it political, religious, racial, national, just like he says in this list, he's putting the finger on the pulse of humanity right now. If you're being prejudicial, you are a cause of the problem. You are the problem. And so to me, it's a beautiful statement as well. So once again, the Baha'i faith is showing something really beautiful. Number 11, the equality of men and women. Quote, to accept and observe a distinction which God has not intended in creation is ignorance and superstition. The fact which is to be considered, however, is that women, having formerly been deprived, must now be allowed equal opportunities with man for education and training. There must be no difference in their education until the reality of equality between man and woman is fully established and attained. The highest social development of mankind is not possible. Literally, he's saying that man and woman are equal. And the Baha'i faith says that it to be a devout Baha'i is to treat everyone equally. There is no delineation. We're all humans. We're all people. Man, woman, we're all part of the same oneness of God, also part of the same world. And so when I look at this this quote here, to me it literally is sharing an absolute loving truth that we're all equal and there is no delineation. And it's a matter of letting go of those prejudices of gender. Here is one that's very timely. Bernie Sanders would love this one. Number 12, the abolition of extremes of wealth and poverty. Quote, O ye rich ones on earth, the poor in their midst are my trust. Guard ye my trust, and be not intent only on your own ease. These come from the hidden words of Baha'u'llah. Literally, he's saying, if you have wealth, take care of your neighbor. Don't let them be impoverished. Don't let them be. If you have billions and billions of dollars, somebody said the other day that if Elon Musk gave away $1 billion to every person on Earth, he would still have more money than everybody else. And why is that? There are people starving in the world, and he's got more money than everybody. And to me, there's no reason for it. What does he need all the money for? What does any of them need all the money for? But I'm not saying, I don't think it's necessarily something be should dictated by law or governed. I think it should be just a natural moral thing. If you've got abundance, share with your neighbor. Whatsoever you do to the least of my brothers, that you do unto me. And if you're over there abundantly wealthy and you have the money, share it. Friends of mine have had some traumatic things in their lives. I just give whatever I can. I do whatever I can. I give money if I have it. It's not about being a wealthy individual. It's about loving the people in the world around you, loving the world, and being love. Live a loving life. And if you're looking at someone over there who's struggling and suffering, and you're not willing to give up, $5 when you've got multi-millions in the bank, that is a moral issue because you are being unloving, because you could easily solve that person's problem without even putting a dent in your own. So I agree with this thing. I don't think it should be governed because that's the delineation that people would fight against. I think it has to come down to letting them know that, and the way you solve that is you say you're not helping the people, then we're not going to buy your products. And that's really the way it has to be handled. It has to be handled from don't support the things that are unloving. And so that, to me, is a huge one. Here's another quote. We see amongst us men who are overburdened with riches on the hand, and on the other those unfortunate ones who starve with nothing, those who possess several stately palaces, and those who have not where to lay their head. Some we find with numerous courses of costly and dainty food, while others can scarce find sufficient crusts to keep them alive. While some are clothed in velvets, furs, and fine linen, others have insufficient poor and thin garments with which to protect them from the cold. The condition of affairs is wrong and must be remedied. Now the remedy must be carefully undertaken. It cannot be done by bringing to pass absolute equality between men. It can't be done until people are treated equally. It can't be done until people are loved. It can't be done until we express the world as one, as seeing that person across from you as an extension of you, being one with the world, being a human as opposed to a wealthy person, being someone who recognizes that you have means and they do not, and I can help them and still have my own means. And that to me is the way the world needs to go. And the way, like I said, the way you resolve that is if you have enough to buy somebody's product and they're someone who is not giving, then don't buy their product. Buy the alternative. Buy something else. Find the companies that are helping. And that to me is it's the loving thing to do, in my opinion. Number 13. This is a very good one, and I think it's the last one on the list here. It is the last one on the list. Universal peace. Quote, the time must come when imperative necessity for holding of a vast, all-embracing assemblage of man will be universally realized. The rulers and kings of the earth must needs attend it, and participating in its deliberations must consider such ways and means as will lay the foundation of the world's great peace amongst men. Such a peace demandeth the great powers should resolve, for the sake of the tranquility of peoples of the earth to be fully reconciled among themselves. Should any king take up arms against another, all should unitedly arise and prevent him. If this be done, the nations of the world will no longer require any armaments, except for the purpose of preserving the security of their realms and maintaining internal order within their territories. He's saying that we all need to come together and just demand peace. And somebody like what's going on over Russia, Ukraine over there, someone goes into another country, everyone should come up against the one who's invading. And so it comes down to demanding peace, demanding a loving world, and everyone saying, nope, can't do that. it's one of the tenets of the Baha'i faith is the idea of promulgating universal peace. And so when you look at this Baha'i faith and realize that there's not a lot in this that tells you anything bad. In fact, you don't really find anything overly bad in the Baha'i faith. You find an evolution starting from the Jewish culture, going to the Christian culture, going to the Islamic culture, to the Baha'i. You see a paring away of the fearful. And you come to this, which is 1844 is really not that long ago historically. And you start to find out that you are able to create a world and through your own truth and your own judgment, and you're able to find truth, and you can respect people for their truths, and you can love one another, and you can take care of the poor and the needy and the sick, and you can do all these beautiful statements in front of you. Get rid of the equality of men and women, the eliminations of prejudice, universal education, the international language thing, peaceful consultation for resolving differences, harmony between religion, science, and reason, the evolutionary nature of religion as a source of unity, independent investigation of truth, and the oneness of religion, and lastly, the oneness of mankind. These are all basic teachings of the Baha'i faith, and it shows you very well, very clearly, that it's a loving, beautiful faith. But like all faiths, God is too big to be encompassed by it alone. Love is found in all of them, which is part of its belief, is the unity and the acceptance of all religions, and understanding that God is in all of them. And the concept of going from Islam to the Baha'i faith, or from Muhammad to Baha'u'llah, is an interesting aspect. But if you're evolving your own spirituality, are you evolving towards more dogma, ritual, and ceremony, or are you evolving to a truly loving world, a world that's surrounded by love and compassion, of equality and monetary equality? When you're looking at it from those aspects, you start to realize that the Baha'i faith is a beautiful, beautiful religion. And when it comes down to the next level, next week, when I do the next video, I'm going to completely flip this on its ear, and I'm going to demonstrate to you a religion based on hate, based on anger and anxiety. And it's one you wouldn't expect. It really is one you wouldn't expect. But the first tenet of it is to hate. And so let me say thank you for enjoying. I hope you're enjoying these videos. Hope you're getting something out of them. They're not meant to sway you to any one religion. They're just to show you what you might not have known about some of these religions, because these religions themselves are showing you that your religion is just one of many, and you can find commonalities in most of them. This next one might be a little bit interesting, but this one I think is a beautiful religion, and I love its teachings. So you often have heard me mention it in my videos, the Baha'i faith, and Baha'u'llah. I've mentioned him. The writings of Baha'u'llah are stunning. So dive into that, and I will talk to you next week. See ya. Bye.